The person you are going to see here, if you're watching this video on the YouTubes. By the way, I'm Osiris. This is Middle Maga. Thanks for finding the channel. This person you're going to see is Mike Dickson. He's a famous, I used to play tennis. I used to follow all this. I'm very familiar with Mike Dickson and also Novak Djokovic. And Mike Dickson, unfortunately, passed away just a couple days ago. And what you're going to see here is a picture of him. I just wanted to show him. This is him from a few years ago. This is probably about 8 years ago, 12 years ago, where he's talking about what he would like to see changed in tennis.
Play addressed and the amount of dead time in matches cut down, being toweling down.
So he's a commentator. Just wanted to give you a taste of it, a sports commentator. And he died suddenly. This suddenly phenomenon just started happening over the last couple years where people pass away and nobody knows. It was unexpected and nobody gets information on why. I don't need to know. I don't want to get into his personal life. Rest in peace. I have nothing but, respect out to his family and friends. I just want to talk about, though, the dichotomy of what's happening here between people who back in the height of COVID were telling other people how to handle their medical situations. And it's striking to hear some of the comments made by Mike Dickerson and how it turned out. If you aren't familiar with this, he was one of the most vocal people against Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic is one of the best men's tennis players of all time. I say he's like what I wanted Andre Agassi to be back in the day. When I played tennis, I always wanted the Agassi's. They were expensive. And the good tennis players always had, not all of them, but they had the Agassi's, which were cool shoes. But Andre Agassi was a well-talented player, but never really lived up to his talent until he got older. Novak Djokovic is a very similar style player. A very, very good player. I'm a big fan of his. Mike Dickson, who passed away, criticized Novak. He said, Novak could ruin his chances of becoming the greatest of all time by refusing to take the vaccine. It is a strange hill to die on for a player who is so desperate to be loved. End quote. That's Mike Dickson speaking. What was happening here was, I think a lot of people who took the vaccine at the time had reservations about it at the time. And they did it because they were told to do it. They did it because, not for medical reasons potentially. It seems to me that's the impression that I get. And I'm not telling anybody what to do here. I'm just analyzing the situation here. I'm not a doctor, so I would never do that. But the decision for you to take a medical product is not up to a doctor. It's up to you. You go to whoever you trust to make that decision. Novak Djokovic went to whoever he trusted, whether that's God, himself, it doesn't matter. And he made the decision that it was not for him. And he never came out and said, Mike Dickson, why did you take it? No, Mike Dickson I don't even care about Mike Dickson's status. Mike Dickson, whether he took it or not, it's irrelevant to my take here. He made the decision that was right for him. That's called individualism. And that was a founding principle mentioned in the Declaration of Independence, founded in the United States of America. What Dickson is doing here is saying, we all took it. We had to take it. And he wrote articles titled this. Let me read this for you. Welcome to the wacky world of Novak Djokovic, anti-vaxxer. Using those terms, that the anti-vaxxer tennis superstar is a tree hugger who insists Bosnia's pyramids give up mystic energy and that positive thoughts can purify water. And the headline, these are real headlines. He wrote for the Daily Mail. Novak Djokovic's weasel words cut no ice, and he has damaged his reputation with his misinformation around the Australian Open. After helping to create a player union, his leadership credentials have been badly damaged. He continue to trash on him. Dixon said, Novak Djokovic will remain a hero to some, but to many others, he has trashed his reputation beyond repair. In another piece, Mike Dickson remarked, and this is not to be disrespectful to Mike Dickson, but this is something we can learn from. When somebody passes away, if you take stuff that happened and you try to use it to better the world or to spark a discussion, I don't think that's being disrespectful. I think that's saying, let's just Ashley Babbitt. I said Ashley Babbitt should have never been there. Tragic death, bad shooting. She's the one that died at the J6 Capitol. But let's learn from what she did, what happened. It's same thing here. In another piece, Mike Dickson remarked, Novak, says he wants more information. But how much more does he need? More than 10 billion doses have been administered worldwide, and there is now a wealth of evidence out there. Bruh, he can look at it. You can't tell another man how much evidence he needs before he puts a needle in his shoulder. Google can't tell me that. You can't tell me that. And it's really bothersome that you think you can. You have a comment on somebody else's private medical decision choices? Since when do we do that? What else are you concerned about his health privately that you want to dive into? He got deported, remember, from Australia, the U.S. Open. He couldn't play in the U.S. Open last year. Despite all that, Novak Djokovic displayed sportsmanship by basically, he said, rest in peace, prayer, and did the prayers emoji on X. And that's really what this was all about. A lot of the government response was about, you do it because we told you to do it. That's what the response is about. And I'm at the point where you don't tell me what to do. I don't tell anybody else what to do. I don't even make recommendations about what you should do. I don't tell anybody. I don't even make recommendations especially about private medical decisions. Don't you dare do that to anybody else. And I don't know if I believe in karma or not, but here I would rather learn the lesson that you do you, and then I'll do me.